Oh, it's recording now. Yeah. Somebody's Hello. Test.
Green is Joe.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right, well, sound good.
Boom.
Floppy.
All right, intro.
Fucking dinner, all right?
Ooh.
How's that?
Oh, you're gonna die. Wow. Can we just drink this? Oh my god.
Take a sip.
Ooh,
I'm gonna take a sip.
That could be dangerous. That's good shit.
Okay, what am I setting? What are you setting?
It's not liquid ass.
It's not liquid ass.
It's not liquid ass. We don't offer goldfish at CFS, do they?
Have a sense of humor. Good laugh does more for the stomach muscles than 5-minute setting up exercises.
Guys, I better not get fired for this.
Rick Wilson.
The most entertaining and offensive show around. Out of the Baldwinsville CrossFit Studios in the Average Joe's Entertainment Complex. It's Bourbon and Barbells.
All right, episode 24. Another huge episode with a special guest.
Here he is.
Jason Newman.
Jason Newman's in the house.
Thank you. They're next week too.
Well, he's got 3 personalities. Which one do we get today? Which one are you talking about therapy today?
Therapy's on Thursdays.
Oh, sorry.
He has feelings, you know.
Today was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got Joe Altier in the house.
Hi.
Finally, he was like the first guy I thought of when we first started this podcast, and he's got such a busy schedule, like singing to, you 5 people at home. Doing Piano Man and...
No.
Oh.
Yeah. No. I mean, week 24, and this is the first time we got Joe in here. We were looking for... First week we tried to get him. Second week, no, it's 24.
Hey,
he's here.
I wanted you guys to work out the kinks.
I don't know if that's happened yet.
Yeah. You should have been here for the... So you heard me puking in the intro. That was... we had a rotten fish segment that we had to small rotten fish.
That Swedish fish challenge that was around. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
It was,
It's the worst.
I've done enough of those when I was on K-Rock, and I did so many of like the hot pepper challenges and the
much
hot
worse.
chocolate and Cody and I ate a tarantula.
Oh,
What?
you did not.
Yeah, we
Like
ate
a chocolate coated tarantula?
No, just a tarantula freeze dried.
Oh, holy crap!
But it tastes like nothing, right?
It tasted like leaves.
Well, last time I ate leaves was a long time ago, but so we got to start every episode off. Let's go with
You and they say, you're not part of the turbo team! Don't run!
Here we go.
Here we go to get us all primed and ready to go.
Yeah,
Is it a new one?
It's
is it a
Floated.
fresh one?
Oh god.
Wow.
all right. There you go.
Oh, Joe,
There
here
you
we go.
Woo!
How was it?
I call it the Ric Flair.
Dude, I've done it before. So I know.
It hits just right.
Or need that fan back on. I'm dying in here.
So you went for another.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it.
Yes.
He has on the school bus with him. He's all right, kids, let's go. You guys want to go to New York City? Let's go to New York City.
It's not a band song. It's on school buses.
No, it's ammonia. It's just ammonia.
Yes.
So,
Daddy, the bus driver was doing a
but unfortunately,
Hey,
once again, the cameras weren't rolling. And Newman, you were saying that why do women get to vote? They can't. They don't pee when they stand up.
Never said that.
You did say that.
Yeah.
You were just talking to Joe about that.
Please direct all mail directed to Joe Haney
At P.O. Box.
Yeah.
P.O. Box C.
But so since we knew Joe was coming in, we figured we'd make a commercial for him.
Okay.
And
I gotta hear this.
Are you looking to impress that soul-sucking hole sitting next to you on the couch? This Valentine's Day, Joe Altier's Valentine's Keyboard Extravaganza will save the day. Fresh off his I Conquered the UK and All I Got Was Gingivitis of the Dick tour, he will serenade your lovely bride with your wedding song, as long as it's Elton John or pre-94 Billy Joel. Joe accepts cash, Venmo, or Applebee gift cards. Make sure you catch him next week. at the Ground Round in Messina, New York.
All right, yeah. So
Is there still a ground round up there?
I don't know.
Because if there is, I'm going. I love ground round.
Oh my God!
I thought that was.
Pay what you weigh.
My parents, like, we never went out to eat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, we lived out in Sumter Square, and we didn't. I mean, if we went to, like, the diner, that was a big thing. We didn't have a restaurant.
So you're a
out there.
Sumter Square boy.
Yeah.
You played football. out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
You're a Redmond.
I was a Redmond, but every once in a while we ended up at Ground Round. I thought it was
Pay
like,
what you weigh. Pay what you weigh.
but I thought it was like fancy because you walked in and they had the pictures of the steak and and then you got older, you're like, wait a minute, this is a cafeteria. We're at a cafeteria.
Yeah.
But,
Ground
oh my
round. Yeah, it was pay if what kids paid what they weighed.
Pay
right?
what they weigh. There was a big.
Well, I was
scale
a
up
fat
front.
kid, so my parents were like, nope, no ground round for you.
There was a centipede video game machine
Yeah.
and the scale. Oh my God, I love centipede or millipede, whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Centipede.
Oh my God, centipede. I loved it. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And the
So-
old Pizza Huts, they had the Pac-Man, the lay down
Oh,
Pac-Man.
the cocktail table.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Those cocktail table games.
I
Those are
loved
great.
it. That's
But-
my favorite.
Yeah, so we're very honored to have Joe finally in here. Just so you don't get it right off the bat, he is here next week at Average Joe's on Thursday, 6 to 9.
6 to 9.
He's here a shit. He's here a ton next year.
Yeah,
He's here-
every
I was
6
like-
weeks.
I was like, Joe, I'll give you 22 dates if you get on the podcast. So
No, it was just man, I like to lock in all the stuff that I like. Well, it was so weird because coming out of the pandemic, I was doing so well online that I didn't know how many shows I had to try to balance because I was still even when everything came back, I was still making good money online. But eventually that really tailed off.
Let's tap into that a little bit. You were one of the first ones that figured out a way, like during COVID, obviously so many places, and you came up with this thing. You were playing almost every night, right? And people would kind of give you tips, like
Yeah, well, when it was really locked down, and the platform was Twitch, and we were using it on K-Rock for like a year, and I was like, well, maybe I should do this once in a while and make a little bit of money. But then when everything hit, I was like, all right, well, I don't have any gigs, and I watched like some other people making money on there. I'm like, I think I could do this.
Did you freak out when this all happened? Like,
No, dude,
a big part of your money. Like, there was
It was all my money.
It was all my money.
no bars,
like musicians and bars, basically.
Yeah.
Got
I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I saw the writing on the wall like probably 2 weeks before, and everyone's like, no, it'll be all right. They'll just scale it down. And I'm like,
The
no.
fuck they will.
I'm like, I have a feeling this is going to be like something's going to happen. And I kept telling some of the other musicians, and that's when I went and I bought a camera and I bought some of the stuff that I needed. Because the pandemic really did hit, and then these musicians wanted to find. You couldn't get cameras, you couldn't get the equipment. It was taking weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, I did that,
And it was immediate too. It was like with gym equipment, just jacked
Yeah.
up prices.
It happens
Find
so
anything.
Yeah, because everyone built home gyms, and they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just work out at home, and
now everyone's you can buy a Peloton for next to nothing
Yeah.
now. Like everyone is waiting.
Well,
months
yeah,
and
that's
all.
what people are like. Yeah, let's open a CrossFit gym. We'll probably be able to get used equipment. No.
Yeah. Joe, you want to go to Virginia?
Yeah.
No, one of my friends actually had an old shitty bench and old crappy rusted weights, and just everything was like, it was just piecemeal. Nothing made sense. Some guy showed up at his house. Some big weightlifter showed up at his house, gave him $3,000 for the junk. It was just junk. He's like, I just made $3,000 on this guy. That's how badly he wanted this equipment just to work out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess cameras and tripods,
I didn't know you were, I didn't know you were
one
friends
use.
with, I didn't know you were friends with Eric Scott, but okay.
Oh, he just had a grill for sale on his Facebook page. He took it down from $50 to $30. I asked for it, but he said no. I said I'd give him $10. I'd drive by his mom's house and pick it up, and he said no, it was okay. She didn't want to sell it. That's messed up. I didn't say that, Eric. And your girlfriend's super hot.
No.
Cover your face.
Let's
Joe.
tap right into this. Who wants to go first? Ben's got the Let's go CrossFit.
Yeah, let's go CrossFit.
Yeah, we touched on the music thing for a minute. Like, so you've been doing CrossFit now for how long?
Well, I started doing it in 2012, and I did it for like a year, and that was like when everything really started.
Was that at over there by Spaghetti Warehouse at Salt City CrossFit?
Salt City CrossFit. And at the time, they weren't even affiliated yet, and that's where I started, and that's where I was like introduced to CrossFit. And the reason I got introduced is my ex-wife worked at Nelly Xavier, and Brett Xavier was partner. He was like the owner of that gym, and he said to me, he's like, hey, why don't you go up and work out and let me know what you think. And I walked in, and the first day, I'm like, all right, well, we're going to do, and then he's like, the owner, main guy, Jason, he's like, we're going to do Fran today. I'm like, I don't know what Fran is. Like, this looks good. And I did that, and I'm like, and I started going, and whoa, man. Like,
Well, back then-
no one knew then.
Well, back then in 2012, right, it was like a grenade went off in the room. And
Yeah.
everybody just fucking dove on it.
And that's why I started. I did it for a year, and then I had a daughter, and my business got busy. And life was, when you have a kid, everything kind of changes. But
Everything.
I came back to CrossFit after, I was going through divorce. I had gained a bunch of weight, and I was an athlete my whole life. I played college football and all this stuff, but I was just like, I didn't know. I needed something to get.
Well,
me
when
out
I
of
had
it.
my old bar, which was back in, it was around 2000, it was late 2000s, and you just started, like, it was after, it must have been right after Brand New Sin, but you were like, I saw you walk, and I was like, yeah, see this Just Joe, that he used to be in that national band, and I was like,
Yeah.
and you were like, what, 300?
I was close. I was at one. My heaviest I got was 285.
Yeah, but
I wanted to get back into it, and a good friend of mine.
did you having a daughter have anything to do with that? You thinking like your health
Oh,
wise?
absolutely. Like almost majority of it was my daughter. That, and it just like mentally, I missed working out. You know, I mean, you're an athlete. You were an athlete your whole life.
Well,
you
I
know
think
what it's like,
that's
what
why
it
athletes
does.
go towards CrossFit
Yeah,
because
agreed.
it is a competition.
No, there's that. The men's, especially if you played a sports team, like for guys, if you played football or lacrosse or soccer, or even stuff like that,
Yeah.
it has that camaraderie and stuff like that. So I came back to it in 2017. I had enough. My mental health was in the shitter. Everything was like everything in my life was kind of upside down. And my good friend was like, "Man, well, you should come back to CrossFit." And at the time, I thought he was at another CrossFit gym. And I'm like, I don't really want to go to that one. And he's like, no, I'm at CrossFit Syracuse. Why don't you come in? And, and I went in. I'm like, all right. And he's like, come in tomorrow. I'm like, well, I'm not. He's like, no, come in tomorrow. And I walked in, and then everything changed.
Well, isn't it weird to hear some people? It's like immediate addiction. Like, oh my god, I love like this.
Well, I knew what it was like back then, but it had been refined by the time 2017 came around.
It was definitely shoe shined.
Right, it had been shined up, and anyone could say this. Like, man, the coaching staff that I have over there is like, you're getting some of the best of the best. They when all the other CrossFit gyms closed down for a while. There was all of them, and then there was like.
Well, there used to be at one point. More like how many? At one point, there was like
14.
There was a lot,
14.
but then when they all closed down, like they cherry picked all the coaches out of there, and they ended up where I am. So, but we did. I liked it.
I did get offered a personal training position over there. I just said no.
Oh, at Syracuse.
Yeah.
So I got into that, and then I did that for like 3 or 4 months, and I'm like, I'm not losing any weight. What am I doing? And then I met my friend Ed Tonight, who was a coach.
Funny you
there at
mentioned
the
him.
time.
He's awesome.
And Ed now runs Ultimate Health and Fitness or Performance and trains, not CrossFit athlete, but it's like triathletes and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I do nutrition. I have a master's. And then he taught me, and then I dove into the nutrition, and that was the
So I don't know if you know. So me and Newman are doing his challenge.
Yeah.
It's
And I
pretty
heard
awesome.
somebody else is doing it.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
You're
doing it.
Here's the thing. I've done this for 6 years, so like what you guys are going through is a little bit different when I'm.
Well, so his thing was like, Joe wanted to look good on stage for Brand New Sin reunion,
of
so
course.
I got him down a little bit. But
It's literally like this is a complete life change. I'm doing all these changes in my life. I've been doing it for the last year and a half. But this is the first week of this, like learning how to put my foods together.
Okay.
I haven't really paid attention to that at all for years. Ever. You're right. Now I'm like trying to use my phone to see what I can eat, and I'm like, am I eating enough? Am I not eating enough? What can I? And then you could put it in yourself, and like, is it too much? Is it not enough?
It's eye opening to really see, one, how much you can overeat, or two, how much you can undereat, or how skewed. Like you're like, wow, I ate.
But they both play the same role. Like if you undereat, your body will store fat.
Absolutely.
If you overeat, your body will store fat. So there's that balance.
Right, there is.
And he got to where he's at just by us giving him generic.
yeah, look at those arms.
Right.
We talked about
Look at
this.
those arms.
We already talked about it.
We were talking about his support group. Look at those arms, those spaghetti noodles.
Check them out. Guess what? I don't care. I'm gonna pose.
You know what?
This is what you look like.
They're a mere shadow compared to those leg muscles.
I'm going to be honest with you. You should feel my legs. Feel my legs. But I will say this. Let's go back a year and a half because I was a fat slob. And guess what? That's what it was. I've got to now build myself up because then I'll tell you 1 year from
That's what we're here for. We're here to help build you up.
You've built me up mentally all day today.
You're in the next phase, man. It's a constant learning.
Can I be honest with you really quick? Joe,
let's be honest.
I came in today and Joe and Ben destroyed me shredded me. I came in feeling like I had a little bit of a rough week, and I thought it was really bad until I left this afternoon to get in my car. And I was like, they beat the shit out of me. And he's
because me and him are in a competition.
We're doing a bro moment. They're like, here's a bro moment. Your arms are weak. Your arms suck.
Well, we call them spaghetti noodles hanging out the shirt.
You're embarrassing. You should be embarrassed right now. I'm like, I am embarrassed.
So
I'm
what does
trying.
he do? He goes over there and starts curling 15s. He's like,
No, those are 30s.
Can I tell you the greatest joke of the day, though?
What?
After we got done ripping you, and you were over here saying, I have feelings. I have feelings. Debbie looks at me and she goes, my arms are as big as his.
Yeah, Debbie's 72 years old. She's 72 years old.
That's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I listen. I'm taking it all straight because guess what?
He wanted to get this competition with me. So
it's gonna work. I'm
the
gonna
loser has
destroy
to get
you.
Brazilian wax. For
So you're gonna see who loses
the most
body fat. Body fat.
It's always body fat because I tell everybody like you can lose weight, but
because I actually work out so I gain muscle. He loses muscle.
No. This
year,
has been a rough week.
I did it for a year. I mean, I tracked my food for a long time.
So are you a meal prepper?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. I've gotten to the point where I don't have to meal prep anymore because I just know. I don't know.
So do you meal prep when you go to the grocery store? So you know what you're going to get for the week. You know how you're going to cook
It's so different now because I've gone past that point. Like I know what
is a part of your life. It's part of your life.
Part of my life now. Where now it's more or less like I'm going to buy a bunch of chicken. Like right now, I got a bunch of chicken in the Instapot, and I'll put in like 10 pounds of or whatever, like 7-8 chicken breasts in there. Let them cook slowly. My thing is the easiest way for me to do it is to just prep all your meat for a few days.
That is simple.
Yeah.
And then you just grab your meat because the majority of the time, especially when you're on a challenge like this and using body fat, your protein intake is a lot.
Well, that's what that's
to the point where you're like, man, I can't believe I got to eat 190 grams of
hot
protein.
sauce will make a difference, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really, it's that, and then I just buy a bunch of fruit and a bunch of veggies and some potatoes. Yeah. But I don't really eat bread. I don't eat rice all that often because I don't know.
Speaking of bread, right? Let me just pivot here for a second. My neighbor is on a homemade bread kick. And she's been making her own sourdough bread.
Oh, dude.
Oh, we have to do starters and stuff like. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. But she's given us a loaf before where I was like, this is fucking sour. But this one she brought over today, I was like, God damn it! I'm gonna eat this fucking loaf of bread.
Some of those bakeries like New York City, their starter, like the yeast they're using, is like 89 years old.
They just
it's a thing. Sourdough is my weakness. If you give me good sourdough,
well, it's probably like you got that sitting in your kitchen. And every time you're walking by, you're just grabbing a piece.
Oh yeah, I'll eat that. That shit will be gone by tomorrow.
I took all the temptation out of the house. There's nothing in our house.
Where'd those Sour Patch Kids go?
I just ate them.
Okay,
two little packets.
I saw that.
You better put that in.
They're hiding behind you.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing I have. I don't have that in my house.
I don't.
My daughter has snacks, but my daughter doesn't even really eat. She doesn't eat Doritos. She doesn't eat like that. Her biggest thing is she loves saltine crackers.
Oh, I do too.
Crackers.
Those are pretty good.
With peanut butter.
So did my grandmother.
But that's when my daughter. See, my daughter. It's
like Werther's Originals too.
Yeah, she does. She's like. She eats like an old. She saw me eat, and her mother eats very consciously like that. So she never really had that around her. So
at this point in the game, right? That's exactly the term you would use, right? It's a conscious effort to just like
I don't
you know
her.
better. Like I'm speaking for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know better to just like, yep, this is what I'm gonna eat for the week. And if you do like take a right turn and have that, a little bit of a sweet, it's not overdone.
No.
Right? It's just a matter, yep, that was good. And then back on track.
That's what I did. That's what I did last night. I did pick up a box of saltine crackers at the store last night because that's my little.
That's your treat.
You can't.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you got to be careful.
Put a little peanut butter on it.
Or is it because you're playing that crackers game with like 10 guys?
No, I'm putting muscle on my.
I win.
I'm putting muscle on my arms for you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess what? Give me 1 month. All right. When I get done with this challenge in November, you're gonna see a different person.
He's gonna be like Sylvester Stallone over the top, like driving the truck, driving the bus, like doing the fucking.
Yes. That's good. I'm bringing that tomorrow. Can I take one of these?
There's no easy way out.
I actually listened to that yesterday on the way to work.
Meet me halfway across the sky. That was the
Oh my God! It was on my.
Sammy Hagar, right?
No.
Kenny Loggins, right?
Kenny Loggins. Yeah, but it was on my car. I pulled into the bus garage. One of the bus drivers.
Sammy Hagar
wow.
did have a song in that movie, though.
He probably did.
Yeah.
No.
But with the food, here's the thing that I had to learn because then I tracked my food basically for like 3 years, man. And that first year, I went hard for it. First year. 52 weeks. I said, I'm going to do all 52 weeks tracking all this stuff. And I lost 2.5 to 3 pounds a week for a year.
Wow.
So, I mean, we refed. We did some times where I wasn't cutting and stuff like that. But it was basically, I lost 85 pounds in that year.
But how much did you gain in muscle, too?
Almost all of it. Like 83 pounds of it was pure fat.
Yeah, right. But I'm
Pure fat.
But
so I maintained the muscle that I had.
But doesn't
at
that get
280.
doesn't that get tedious though?
It does.
Do you think that Ed? Do you think that Ed still sits there and tracks all his calories and stuff?
No, I mean,
it just becomes like a it's part of your habit. It's a habit.
Well, dude,
it's
he's
a
been
habit
doing
now.
it
It's a
so
habit.
long, and him and I become like we're incredibly close
We
friends.
just met him last week. It's the first time. Like I know a lot of people that know him, and he's a really cool dude.
He got
our humor.
You're not going to find another person in this area that has more knowledge.
But he's very cool though.
Like we
Very cool.
started talking a little bit and see if he was going to get away with it, and he fired right back at us.
He got our humor and stuff like that. Like he's a cool dude.
And he's
a
like,
cool guy.
I told
he's
him,
coming on the podcast in a couple weeks.
He's so
awesome.
But what I said to him, I'm like, what happens? Like, I mean, after like 3 years, I'm like, I don't want to track anymore. Like, what do I do? And he's like, you'll know, man. You'll know. Like, I mean, you'll know when you're overeating. You'll know like how many grams. You can do that in your head.
Well, Newman took X-Lax today to try to get the shit out.
I don't think that was me. I know somebody did it, but I'm not pointing anything. I don't take that stuff.
That's performance enhancement.
My stomach doesn't take it. I blow my guts right out of my stomach. Last time I took X-Lax, I shit out a G.I. Joe gun and 3 marbles and a pack of fruit stripe gum. And it wasn't even chewed. And I didn't even chew it. Yeah, the wrapper was still there.
Listen,
Oh my
I don't know
God.
why you just said this. I was waiting to say this in the podcast. You just reminded me. So, there's 2 kids right now eating an ice cream cone. One of them ate the wrapper, and I'm not going to say whose, but it's the one that goes to West Hill. He said the wrapper was good.
He ate the wrapper.
He ate the wrapper to the ice cream cone.
Oh my God. That doesn't surprise me. You know what he said to me? He goes, I'm going to ask Mom for ice cream when we get home. I go, no, you're not.
Joe handed Norman the ice cream. He goes, don't tell your mother either.
And he goes, I'm going to tell your mother. I was like, I'm not your dad. I'll smash it in your face.
He goes, I'll smash it in your face. It's awesome. He looks right at Joe and he's like, oh. Joe, do it. I told him. I tell you, don't mess with Joe. He's going to do what he says.
Let's go back to the music part then.
Okay.
Are you doing this challenge to get ready for the UK tour then?
Well,
This got to obviously be huge for you.
There's a couple of reasons why.
Sorry, real fast. How did you even get?
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Okay, we'll go from the first and then we'll get to the second and it'll ease it away. The challenge was more or less like I spent the past like 8-9 months of my life, almost a year, just like I stopped tracking. I'm like, all right, I got to a point where it was almost obsessive, and then it got no fun.
Yeah, right.
To the point where like, whoa, if I'm going to drink beers, it's going to do this, and I'm like, no, let's see if I can try to find some balance and enjoy life a little bit. And I'm going to put on some weight, and I'm going to be perfectly fine with that. And I did, but so now it's like, all right, now I just want to dial it in because obviously Brand New Sin show's coming up. It's going to be sold out. I want to be in front
Not
of
at Ever Joe's.
What do you say?
Not at Ever Joe's.
It's a theater, bro.
You should bring him here to Ever Show. They'll destroy this whole area.
Just have a practice session.
Yeah, just fill the bar. Just fill the bar for one night.
But I wanted to be in like great shape for that. I wanted to be good shape for the UK tour. But I also, and at the same time, I was kind of over that phase of like just indulging a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of ready to just get back into the swing of things.
Feeling a little shitty, right? Because you'd overdid maybe this night, that night.
It was just like, all right, I'm done kind of just eating. I mean, I've never sat down and eaten an entire pizza. I never sat down and did all those things. But it got to a point
Yeah,
where
but what is the shittiest food you're going to eat right now? If you're going to go out and eat some shitty food, what are you going to eat?
Yeah, what's your cheat right now? What's
What's your cheat food?
Pizza, man.
Pizza? Anybody's pizza? Do you want wings with your pizza? Do you want just French fries?
Just pizza.
Ma, meatloaf.
French fries on the pizza?
There's Miss Congeniality. Let's see that smile today.
Oh, there it is. It was a big finger. That's what Ben just got. That's what he just got from the boss.
Yeah, pizza's my...
No, it's funny. He said pizza and he walks in. That's her entrance music.
Pizza and like big, giant, sloppy burgers.
Oh, I thought it was going someplace else.
Well, there's no calories. No calories in that. But then, so now jump to how I got the UK tour. That really kind of was a process that happened over a number of years, and it went back as far as the Brand New Sin days, all the way up through the social media boom that I've had in the past year and a half or 2 years. So when I was streaming and all that stuff, I met so many people around the world, and we all like connected, like
for online,
just online.
Really, that's awesome.
Musicians all over, and we all became like, none of us were playing gigs, so we're like, hey man, great, and we watched each other and we learned from each other. Before, you'd only kind of learn from the musicians that were here in Syracuse, but now I'm getting access to like, people from around the world. So that opened the door. That got me the tour offer from last year.
So you have like a booking guy over there.
Yeah,
then?
well, that's how I'll get to it. So then I went on tour with Halocene, who's like one of the biggest bands on like YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I went on the road with them, and that
awesome.
opened a bunch of other doors. And then I learned from their realm of like how to be a creator and like get traction, and like how to use Instagram, how to use TikTok. So with that, then I dove into being a creator, and I stepped away from Twitch, and then I'm like, I'm gonna put my eggs in this thing. And then I'm like, all right, well, I can sing, but so can a million other people that are on here. How do I cut through? And I'm like, hey, I'm the voice of the Big Show's theme song.
Okay,
and that went like, I know that's gonna open another thing, but I don't want to stay on track. Get the question.
That's actually how we first met.
Right.
I don't know if we'll go back into that in a minute. Go ahead.
But so that busted open. That was 500,000, and then I came on this whole track, but to not go through all that, it basically opened up all this thing. So then the Limp Bizkit things got shared there earlier this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then
sick.
yeah,
And then there was
awesome.
the other one.
and there was
sugar.
so many people. And all of a sudden, then I started targeting these people. So then,
Well, so how does that feel though? When
It's weird.
they commented on you,
Yeah.
right? That's what makes it go.
They loved it.
commented and
What did
shared
you
it?
at first?
Yeah.
You think like this ain't real?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
Yeah, Fred
moments
Durst
over
liked
the
that,
years.
You
right?
think it's like an impersonator
Loved it.
account?
Well, I knew that Fred Durst had kind of been paying attention because like a year prior to that, I had a viral video of Skid Row's I Remember You done like as a country ballad, and he commented on it. So then I knew
That's
he was
amazing,
watching.
though.
Then
That's
I knew
awesome.
he was watching like my shit.
Yeah.
So then I did that, and then all that. So this all of a sudden started getting some phone calls from people that I used to know in the industry, like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
But not
with the-
Billy Joel.
What do you, no, not Billy Joel.
He's here.
But
Come on,
so
Billy. Come
they're
on,
like,
Billy.
what are you doing with this shtick, or what are you trying to do with this?
Sick.
Well, it was just like taking metal songs, put them on a piano. Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing with this? And
But
I'm
no, like to be honest, I've never seen anyone else do that.
No.
I mean, there's people that do it, but sometimes they do it like in a joking matter. They're like, hey, and they make it jokey.
Yeah,
and stuff
my
like
wife
that. But I'm
fucking
actually
sucks.
taking it and trying to make it, a serious composition with it. So then I had a friend of mine. His name is
Don Vito.
Don Vito. Ryan McCombs, who is he's a singer in a band called Soil, and he was also the singer in Drowning Pool for a number of years
shit.
as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's a good friend of mine. He's back in Drowning Pool as well. And so he
Did the guy drown in the pool though?
died in the bus.
Oh, I thought he died in the pool.
Original guy.
Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
he called me. He lives in the UK. He's like,
Crickets.
"Hey, you got any interest of coming to the UK?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to, but I mean, as you know, I got a kid, and I can't just leave my business. I got to make money." So he started a production business over there, and that was like we sent out the feelers over there, and the two biggest sells were my reimagined metal stuff, because metal overseas is so different than
Oh my gosh, they sell out arenas, dude.
so
It's like
different over there.
fucking.
People are so rabid over there for that time.
Imagine like any 80s rock video you saw on MTV where they're selling out fucking stadiums. They still go that crazy in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, man, metal is like it's a totally different world. So then between that and the wrestling connection, there was a ton of venues and promoters over there were like, yes, we'll book this guy. And we put up a budget like, hey, this is what I need. And they all came back, and I'm like, this is going to make sense. Let's go. So
Okay, there's so many things I want to get to, but first thing, are you nervous that like you're gonna go to England and be like,
no one show up? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it's one thing. I've only ever been
That's
out.
what my nervous thing. I'd be like, I'm gonna fucking fly 8 hours and
No one's going to show up.
I'm gonna,
Yeah, but you get paid.
Like,
Well,
are
I'm
you
getting
gonna
still getting paid,
I'd
but
be
they
like,
could still be like, well, there's nobody here, and
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah.
You're going home.
You're going, well, I got a contract. I don't give a
hey,
fuck about your
hey,
contract.
can I-
Sue me.
So can I give you,
know.
like, can I like text you some like lines? Be like, yeah, we beat you in the fucking war. Fuck you.
Oh no.
How do you sum up Last of the Mohicans in 3 words or less? Thanks, British.
So when are you leaving? When are you leaving?
I'm leaving. Well, the first date is February 1st, and the last date
Yeah.
is
So you
February
ruined my fucking commercial.
18th. Yeah, so I'm going to be gone pretty much all of February. So I'm going to leave.
Are you taking your daughter with you?
No.
You
She's
should.
at school. She got school.
That'd
right?
be awesome.
She's got school. She's not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
what's there doing in England? Like, it's not like you're
Just
showing
to
her
see it,
anything.
I guess.
You're going to show her Grace.
She comes to a lot of my gigs now. She loves
Does she?
the life.
Is
She loves
so,
the life.
How old is she now?
She'll be
10.
10 next month.
Oh, that's
She's
still pretty
starting to
young.
get into the music.
Oh yeah. She's more into art actually. She likes.
Well, that's
drawing
awesome.
and all
But
that stuff. She's
does
a
she like
creative.
realize like? Does she realize like that you're not
Who you are?
who you are?
She
but, like,
does, and I think when she finally realized that was one time. It was right before the pandemic, and the Big Show had his own Netflix TV show, right? And I come out one day, and she's watching it, and I'm like, I go, honey, did you just hear that song on there?
She's like, yeah, the guy sucks.
Yeah.
The guy sucks.
And I'm like, that's Daddy. And she's like,
Did it
I'm
register
like,
with her?
and at first she's like, you know him? I mean, she was younger.
Does she know him? You know him?
You know him. She was probably 6 at the time. She's like, you know him? She's like, she's trying to wrap her 6-year-old brain
I
around
love it.
this.
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
So then
That's
all that
awesome.
stuff. But then I took her down the rabbit hole. I'm like, hey, Daddy's been in a movie. Daddy did this. Daddy
What
did
movie?
this. School of Rock.
School of Rock. School of Rock. The whole
I mean,
thing was good.
we're in a couple scenes. We don't have any space.
That's okay, right? We have Tom. He's a background actor.
Yeah.
Hey, so we
But
got-
it's funny you say, so like we go to the fair and it'll be like, someone will come up to me and be like, obviously I'm not compared to you, but they'll be like, oh, you're the Joe. And I just look at my daughter, she's like, yeah. like she gets so fucking pissed off.
She knows it now, and she's learning it more and more. But I don't think she wraps around like, oh, Daddy, I saw you. Did you have a video go viral on TikTok? Like, she's growing up in a world that I never.
Well, it's crazy. Like,
That you're still navigating.
Yeah.
I try to because like I don't know if it's like your daughter's 10, so like my daughter's 17, but it's like these terms on TikTok and everything. Like she used to call us a boomer, and I have to like hurry up and look at her on the phone like, what's a boomer mean? And
You're a boomer, Dad.
But yeah, it's
like you're a TikTok like social media star.
You got a blue check?
not on TikTok. I do
Fuckers.
on
I don't know what that
dude.
is,
It's
but-
hard to get a blue check on TikTok. Like you got to do. I mean, I knew a dude, my buddy Philip, who was on America's Got Talent, the fiddle player. I don't know if you watched this season of
Philip Phillips?
No, Philip Bowen, and he does this rock fiddle, and he's made it pretty far on America's Got Talent, and he blew.
Oh,
up
yes,
on
yes,
TikTok.
yes, it was
That's my
about-
buddy. Him and I became friends throughout the pandemic and all that stuff, and he was over 1 million followers, and he still didn't have a blue check mark. They put you through. I got it on Instagram. I eventually got it on Instagram,
I'm glad I don't go through that shit.
but I got
we're
the
up to
Instagram.
2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know what that means,
That's
but
solid. When you get 100,000, you get a plaque.
it's
man.
25.
Can you
25 weeks. That's where we're at.
That's
so
solid.
Can you
I'm happy.
explain blue check though to people that don't know?
I have no idea. I don't want to.
It means you're verified.
I'm glad Newman just said it. I'm glad Newman said
no,
it.
just
I didn't
feel-
want to. I didn't want to say it.
What is Ben talking about?
Well, blue check on any
I'm
social
just shaking my
media.
head like, yeah.
So when you
yeah.
see a person's name, like it would be like just Joe. Next to his name, there's gonna be this little circle with a
Right.
blue check.
What's
in it.
that mean?
That means that I'm a verified account. That means it is me, and that I've met the criteria to be able to
That
do
means that
it.
you're making them money.
I mean, you can pay. Well, no, nowadays you can just pay to get a blue check mark on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But if you ain't got 50,000 followers, it ain't shit.
right, I mean, but people click on there and like, hey, this guy's got 800 followers.
just on TikTok.
But
Not TikTok.
No,
No.
TikTok. You still
No, what
gotta
was the
go
blue
through
check
the whole
though?
thing. The same thing. It's a blue check on anything.
Oh, okay.
no,
So
yeah.
obviously,
But
they-
it's verified, but it does come with some weight and like, it does like when you see someone with a blue check mark, you're like, well, who's that? Or they
We have a couple that follow us. I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then I showed Dylan, as a matter of fact, and he was like, oh, she paid for it.
I mean, which is fine, but you still got to go. You got to still submit a bunch of stuff. You can't. They don't hand it out to everybody. I mean, you got to give them your ID. You got to go through all this stuff. I mean, you could get
Oh,
anyone
wow.
get it.
I don't chase him. I just replace him. That's how we do it.
I don't chase him. I replace him. That's what Ben says.
What do you got for me, Newman? You got some.
Oh no!
yeah.
I
Where's
was,
your notes?
Or is
No,
that like
these
a-
are these
the
are just
speed
notes.
round?
Like, I was
Is that a
sitting in the
speed
car. I
round?
was sitting in my school bus doing my job.
He's trying not to bombard you with
know what
just
they were
music,
doing?
just
No,
fit.
just
Everything doing grip string stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I love like
No, like
I've
see,
done
my questions are just different. Like
Well-
the chicks. I got the. I want to get on the chicks.
Well,
side.
we want to get back to the
hot
brand new
chicks.
sin your
All right,
national
go
Yeah,
ahead.
like
days.
I want to just know more about
Well,
like, the hot
so
chicks.
I know nothing about the Brandon Sin thing, so maybe it'll be like I remember like because I heard about you being by yourself when I had my old barn Cicero Lebowski's, and like people were like because I had more like acoustic guys or like little 3-piece guys.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was
I've
my
been
bar out
I
there,
didn't- I never.
So then
played-
when I opened up my place here 5 years or 6 or I don't know. Well, it's just a countdown to Just Gens, but
One test at a time.
it's average. Tomorrow will be average Gens.
Average.
But
got a ring.
I remember when you were going to do that first reunion thing, and that's why I was like, hey, you know what? Like, this is be huge. And I know obviously my place is not. It's not like Lost Horizon or Westcott or a theater. It is something small. So I was really trying to press you. So my idea was, hey, this Valentine's Day, how about you come in and do my wife's thing? He's like, okay, what's the song? I told him the wedding song. He's like, well, it's going to be an extra $25. He's like, Jen, do you know Piano Man? Like, that could be our wedding song, right?
Yeah, I had to learn it.
It was Peter Gabriel, Book of Love.
Book of Love. And now
No,
I know
I mean the evolution of you,
So
Joe.
now I can save $25.
Well, the evolution of you of Just Joe is huge
25 bucks
because
says I love you.
I've been in the bar business forever and a day, and there was days where it's like I knew you before, I knew of you before, I knew that you could be booked easy, and I'm like, that was that was a long time ago, and then I was like, all of a sudden you just can't get Joe. You can't get Just Joe. Just Joe's like the name in every bar. Like Joe's, you were playing a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're playing a lot, which a lot of bands do here in Syracuse. But every time you play, everybody's there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's such a
it's
different
solid.
way of playing.
So I'm gonna show something out here because so the small stage that we have here, we have two stages. We have the main stage and the small stage. So for about 2 years, Rob and Joe had the record for the 6 to 9 thing.
Yeah.
And then Just Joe comes in, and I was like, Rob, it's the Just Joe stage now.
Rob hates that, and Rob and I are very good friends.
Rob is one of the best. He's what musician you and like. You have that. You don't take yourself too serious.
No,
and
yeah.
he's just so great. But there's these musicians that take them like.
I saw you get mad once. I don't know when it was, but you were like you were singing a song, and people just kind of are rude. They want to hear their song. They want you to stop what you're doing, like you're some act.
Like
in a
I'm
circus.
a fucking
Yes,
jukebox on the
exactly.
wall. I'm like, man, I'm not that thing.
I paid $1 to skip this shit.
And you were like you're playing this awesome song, you're into the song, and this person just is drunk. And just like
free birds.
Snap. I was like,
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
No, it happens. It
People are
happens
so
from time to
rude.
time. Eventually, and the thing is, I always win because I have the microphone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I win. I have a podcast.
But the thing is, there's been times where someone's like doing something, and I stop the song. I go, "What is so fucking important that we got to talk about it right now in the middle of this song?" They're
Yes.
Like, why you gotta be like that? I'm like, well, why do you gotta be?
You're
like
singing
that?
exactly.
I'm in the middle of
What
something.
movie
Why
is
would
that?
you- wait.
I can say whatever I want because I'm the. Who is that? Is that Adam Sandler?
It was Adam Sandler.
Adam
and,
Sandler.
Oh,
And
and wedding singer.
Because I'm the one with the
I'm the
microphone.
one with the microphone. But yeah, I mean, there's times, but I've gotten really good at it to the point where I'll destroy somebody in a heart.
Because you do have the power. Like
Yeah.
they don't realize. Like
I
no,
did
will
have to
destroy
break
you.
up a fight while playing once at Lake of
Shut
Fools.
up. What? Shut up.
By the way, I'll fuck your wife after this song. Yes, I will.
Lake Effect.
I was playing at Lake Effect. Lisa was bartending.
Remember that bar? Wow, the stories I can tell you about that
and,
bar.
and I was up on at that time. Then I was finally playing up on the little stage.
Yeah.
Where Tommy built the little thing up in the front, and people would kind of stand over here on a couple steps, and this one dude kept coming up, and he was a regular there at the time. I don't remember his name. He kept coming up, but there's these two girls that were up there, and they were good looking, but he didn't realize that their goon boyfriends were in the back watching every.
Oh,
set. And I knew those dudes because they would come out all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And they'd come up, and they'd be fun. And he started kind of, flirting with them a little bit.
Oh,
and
God.
The one dude is makes all of us look like nothing.
Oh, God.
And he's standing up. I'm like, uh-oh.
Here we go.
Well, a lot of times because it happens on stage with bands. They can sometimes see shit happen before
yeah.
me and the bouncer can see it, and you'll be all of a sudden be like, they're trying to be like, oh,
Yeah.
they do the
I'll
point.
do that.
They do the point. They do the
Or
point.
I'll just stop and be like, hey. But that dude bolted up, and he did that, and he started grabbing him, and the girls then started beating her boyfriend. No, he wasn't doing anything. And then Lisa jumps from over the bar. But
Who's Lisa?
Lisa, she was the legend of Beeville.
Yeah, she works out at
The Wood now.
At
She's
the
at
Wood.
yeah.
At the Wood. What was her
She's
maiden name?
amazing. But let me just lay out lake effect. It's an alley. So he's playing at the end of the alley in front by the windows. Is that what you're playing?
Yeah.
So there's the bar, a brick wall, and an alley.
There's a quarter of the size of this
There's nowhere to
place.
go. There's nowhere to go. If there's a fight, if you're in the fight in that area, you're in the fight in that area. You're not getting out of it. I've been in many fights in that
I
area.
was still playing the song with one hand and singing and just kind of holding him from. I'm like, I don't care what happens with this fight. Don't land on my gear.
Yeah. Get off my shit.
That's a pro move, man.
That's awesome.
And because here's the thing: if a band stops, it will immediately escalate.
Yes.
I mean, but sometimes you have to stop because then you have to get things. But if you stop, then everything will escalate a little and make it a little bit more. So if it can play out all right, then you keep it going and it'll dissolve a lot.
I will say, because the good bands, there's been, like, say, pop rock. I know you know pop rock.
Yeah, Derek.
There's been Derek and, Billy and Regan and stuff like that. There's been, for some reason, the 80s fucking thing. That's when the girls always get in fights.
Oh, they're hairspray.
And they will basically be like, they're fighting over Aquanet cans.
Oh, my God.
They will still be singing and just be like, come on, guys. Like, do you want us to stop or do you want us to keep going? And, like, people then all of a sudden start realizing, like, and it gives us the time to get up there to fucking, like, fish it out. And it's always, I hate the girls' fights. I don't know where to grab. I don't know where to grab.
Yeah.
So,
I've been trying to grab your.
Hey, take a play out of Donald Trump.
It also
Grab him by the pussy.
matters the size of them.
Grab him right by the pussy.
You don't want it. Some of them. These are 80s chicks. It's all hairy.
Brand New Sin shows used to be back in the day. We used to be different. I mean, they don't mosh anymore at our shows because everyone's older and don't want to mosh. But like,
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing
It's
because
true.
I've had this epiphany. Pantera and what was it, Lamb of God? They came to the
I was
amphitheater,
there, yeah.
and I could hear them all the way over in Westfield. That's where I live, and I was thinking to myself, that must be a great show. But everybody there's probably wearing a polo or a button up, just going, yeah. And then the same thing happened. Like,
and they're worried about their knee. Oh, my knee, knee.
That was one of the loudest shows
It was
I've
so
ever been to in my life.
fucking loud.
And then I found out afterwards because I know the guys in Lamb of God. I obviously know Charlie Benante from Anthrax. He was a big fan of Brand New Sin. And Zach, we toured with Black Label twice. So like, he's a buddy.
Wow,
so like,
that's awesome.
So when I was talking to the crew afterwards, I'm like, well, man, dude, that was a lot. Like, who's mixing? And they're like, oh, this guy Muscles. And I've known Muscles from like 2002 when he used to be just he was getting his start as a sound guy. Now he's like A-list sound guy. I'm like, that's why it's loud, because he's like, dude.
So I will say the loud.
And it was loud, but it was like, it wasn't.
I could hear it from fucking Westfield.
I will say the
I
loudest,
thought I was gonna poop
the
a
loudest show
couple times.
ever here at Average Joe's was we had the Tool tribute band Schism.
Yeah.
And I'm in the kitchen having to work, and I feel like, I'm like, what the fuck? Shit's falling off the wall. Shit's falling off the wall in the kitchen. I come out and like I'm like, oh. I was like, did I do too much?
breath. Yeah,
like, I
take
thought I
your
was
breath
doing. I was like, did I do too much cocaine? Like, holy fuck! Holy fuck! Like, no, it's just the music. Like the music hits your chest like a fucking.
Yeah, the Pantera show with the bass drum was
Pantera.
hitting so hard that it disoriented me.
Oh my
I was
God.
to the point where it was like, I mean, you got to remember when
It was 20 years ago. 20 years ago when they were like,
those sound waves that are coming that are that big. A bass sound wave is goes from about here to past that camera.
Oh, really?
Right. So that it's physics at that point. So you're literally getting nailed. I mean, it's no different than a wave on the ocean. Like the bigger, like smaller waves will do this, but those big giant waves,
It's like a fucking
they'll
think of it.
destroy things.
You remember like you're at Myrtle Beach and you try to like go out in the ocean and you get hit like every 3 seconds? That's the bass drum at up in
No,
Terror
it
show.
is. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just you can't see it, but it was.
And then you stand up and you have a condom on your face. And
oh wait, I'm in Average Joe's parking lot.
yeah.
No,
that'd be a pregnancy test. Which we found twice here.
Oh my God.
I was taking a pregnancy test and
Twice. One in the
Champions.
park. One in the winners. once in the park.
I mean, I can see condoms and things like that.
Dude, once having the parking lot, there was a positive test, and then once in the girl's bathroom was right on top of the thing. But the one in the parking lot that was positive, I was like, if anyone steps forward, I will give them a lifetime bar tab.
Can I be honest? It's always after one certain country show. It's always like one day. A toilet gets broken. A toilet always gets broken in the women's room.
That narrows that down to like 2 bands.
Where there's a ruckus. Where there's a ruckus.
Yes. And there's always like randomness in the parking lot. Like, it's not like
there's a pregnancy test and EBT card.
I remember in my day when you found
groceries.
Back in the day, when you'd find like a really like sleazy pair of panties in the bath, the ladies would be like, "Oh my god, who wore this?"
What's your fucking cheetah?
Thing? Now, the last show there was a pair of panties. I'm not even gonna call them panties. It was like a boat cover. I'm like, who the hell? Why would these be left here? Who takes them off? Why would you wear them out? But it was that show.
Did she shit?
No, they were just.
There's a Tracy kissing.
There was probably something.
Here's one thing. When we didn't play this dysfunctional when K-Rock used to do DFB, but they used to do it in Herkimer at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, right? And I was working the show. I had a show that night, but I went down there and I played the pre-show or something as Just Joe. But we're sitting backstage, and all of a sudden, you get stuff like, hey, put this lost to found, or this, security's coming back doing this. Somebody came back and someone lost their full bottle prescription of Valtrex.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
I'm like, first of all,
why are
you bringing the entire bottle?
That's my dream.
So then we had to make announcements like, hey, so and so, we said. I'm like,
how do you announce it? How do you announce it on a microphone full of a room full of people?
Is anybody missing Valtrex?
My hands up. Me.
Well, I went up on stage and Stacey Waterman was doing production. She said, I dare you to go up. You got to make this announcement.
You didn't do it.
Yeah, go up and said, hey, we have found a prescription of Valtrex.
50 hands went up.
And it had the name on it. And we said the girls.
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine a dude that was with her that day? He's like, man, I'm getting.
No, I'd be like, well, see, now here's the difference. She's a goer. Let's go.
I'll be honest with you. That's what I used to chase after. That was my thing. I love the crazy. The crazy is my favorite. So let's open up a can of worms for a second. Do you miss K-Rock? I heard you mention it a few times.
I do. I mean,
you missed the morning show because you
were
the morning show.
I wanted to do.
I didn't know this. So you were on.
I was on there all the way. I was
K-Rock
on there for
mornings.
He had a great 3-4 years.
No, he wasn't against me. I left radio.
Yeah, he would have died.
I was on there twice a week, but then the pandemic hit. And then, obviously radio's watching their budgets and everything. So they cut me out. But I still do stuff for them, and I still go on there from time to time. I've been offered to, go back and, do it a little bit more full-time. But
you should.
No, but have you ever been offered to go back to that 95X?
I can't.
Did they ever offer you to come back?
I'll be honest with you. I talk to all of them all the time. But
He's begging.
95X was a fun part of my life, but it's the old part of my life. But the corner office hates my guts. I kind of spoke my mind too many times.
So that's a no.
That's a big fat no. But it's different. But it's a different. You were like, I listened to you every morning, and I was a huge hater of K-Rock. I didn't support K-Rock. When you were on, I was always listening because you were just a huge part of that show, and I love listening to you. You always came back with something. You always had some. You were there. You were on, and you made that show really interesting. Cody's doing a good job. Right?
I want to do it more often, but honestly, it's just like I don't have time, man. It's like it's time, and it's like getting up twice,
4 o'clock in the morning,
getting up at 4 in the morning, getting down there, and it makes for a very long day because a lot of those days I got a gig.
Do you think it pays off to your shows?
Dude, it definitely. I mean, I still get people coming up and like, hey, I loved you on K-Rock, or they come up and do some of the taglines that we used to do and stuff like that. It definitely did open up a thing, but. I can't do everything.
Yeah,
and that's where I had to draw. I had to put.
It's okay to say no.
See, Heidi hated it when I first met Heidi and
all the groupies,
first had Norman.
all the groupies, right?
No, she would lose her mind if someone walked up and talked to me.
Radio listeners, radio listeners are very. Especially people that are diehard in the morning shows. They're a very different breed.
Yeah, they really are.
Well, I will say what I'm learning with this podcast. People think because they listen to us on their drive home or to work or whatever, they feel like that we're part of their life.
Yeah, it's changing.
That's
things.
what.
I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to learn now that the show's starting a little bit take off. It's like people like.
Was that story real?
Yeah, like, is it real?
Did that really happen to you?
It affects, like, they think we're part of their life.
It is, and it I've obviously had weird moments with fans over the years.
Please tell us.
Oh, yeah. You got to have a million of them.
Well,
All right, you want one of my favorite stories?
Let me go to my quick list
number
here.
4. Go to number 4.
Pigs. He said pigs. I'm putting it number 4. Like the hot chicks and the craziness, but I can go all day.
Well, you had a girlfriend on tour with you always, didn't you? When you were on Brand New Sin, did you?
No.
Oh, so you?
I was saying because that would be a sin.
No, I was.
He never brought sand to the beach.
I've been married
That's a
twice.
dad
I've
joke.
been married twice, and I was married when I joined Brand New Sin, and we got divorced shortly after
Good
the band
move.
got
because
going.
of the tour.
Yeah, was it because
Well,
of
it
the
was
music?
just being the time away, and her and I grew apart. We got married real young, and we just kind of.
She caught you and like Nikki Sixx in a threesome.
Yeah, kind of.
Are you guys still-
honestly? It was
Kinda.
that was
He
it was
would say
just
no.
more or less.
Was
we
it
just grew
him?
apart, and she wanted different things, and I wanted different things. So then the rest of the time I was in Brand New Sin, I stayed pretty much single.
It's kind of
and-
hard to be with somebody being a rock star.
It's
being a
so,
rock
I mean, it's
star,
hard.
isn't it?
Dude, I have a hard time having relationships. Not
I've
even
seen the
with
movie
my-
Rockstar.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah,
I have a hard
right now.
time.
Are you in a
Okay,
relationship
so
right now?
basically,
it's-
what he's like into. So say you being like, so you were basically the opener for some of these big acts, right?
Yeah.
So even being the opener, did you have like groupies?
Yeah, it's a group.
Well, here's the thing.
Or is it like kind of like
in my
they're
genre?
Like,
in my
how about
genre
you?
of music,
You start with those guys and work your way up to us, like the headliners.
in my genre, in that genre of music, it's not. It's mostly dudes.
Really?
really?
Yeah, and metal.
But the girls out there, are
they're
girls.
there,
that-
but most of them are there with their dudes.
yeah.
But there are girls around, and listen, but there's certain genres of music.
Listen, we had the Midget Wrestler 2 weeks ago, and he had a groupie.
I
He had one.
Fair.
He had one.
He had one.
I mean,
groupie.
I've said this out loud and everything, but I used to have certain girls in certain towns.
Oh.
There it is.
I've
And
got
a lot,
those.
and it really sometimes wasn't even about just I wanted to come in town and have a good time with them. One, they had a nice house. Two, they cooked food for me.
Yeah.
You are awesome.
I love you, Joe.
You're speaking my language.
I could get a good night's rest. And I mean, in Brand New Sin, we were in the van all the time. We had to sleep, 6 of us in a Motel 6 if we got a hotel room.
So did you?
So,
wait,
like, there are
stop
a
for a
lot of
second.
times.
I got to talk. Did you shop this girl? Did you come in town? You're like, all right, let's just get a couple of you lined up. You have a house? No house. Bye. Have a good night. You have got a house? Okay, let's
Yes,
go over here for a
Dr.
second. Now, do you cook? Okay, house.
Yeah.
I got a house and a cook. Just a house. Okay, you can go home now.
But yeah, there was certain
That's
towns that would come up, and that girl would come pick me up. I'm like, hey,
And
what
when-
time's
when do you-
loaded?
and when
What
do you
time's
have-
I gotta be back? All right, and then I
But
go.
now-
and
now, do you
a lot
care-
of times
do
I
you-
would just eat something and go to sleep for
But
like
do you
5
care
hours.
that they have an Eve 6 tattoo on their tit? Like,
At this point, can I ask you a question? At this point, is weight a measure? Do you care that like if she's a fatty with a big house and a nice full fridge, you like I'm gonna go because I'm gonna see some Joe. I've done it. I've been there on a Saturday night where I'm like spent all my money trying to get laid with that one and it didn't work out. I'm like, you got a sandwich at your house? Let's go.
do you want a crazy story?
Yes, I do.
I mean, this is one of my
more than air.
This is one of my favorite stories ever. We were on tour with the band Kitty,
Yes.
and the band Kitty was all girl metal band. They're back together. They're from Toronto.
Thank God.
And at that time they were still pretty big. They got big in the early 2000s. We're out on the road with them. We're playing in Dallas at a place called Deep Ellum Live, which if you ever been to Dallas, like their Armory Square, which I mean you can't even compare Armory Square to Deep Ellum is like where all the nightlife is,
Yeah.
all the concert venues,
Yeah.
all the stuff. So we're playing there, and we played there a few times, and that promoter was really cool to us. And I got done with the set, went out to the bar, to have some drinks with him, and I'm sitting there, and I get a tap on my shoulder. I turn around, and the girl's like, hey, great show, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I want to know if I can get a picture. I'm like, sure, we can get a picture.
Oh, my God.
But this is before cell phones, it's before smartphones.
Oh.
It's like 2003. So,
A Kodak.
so it's like Kodak. Yeah, Kodak.
Disposable.
We're gonna get these back in 4 days.
Right.
14
So
days.
she goes, I'm like, all right, can you take a picture? And the promoter's just got his head down and he's laughing. I'm like, he knows her. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's the catch here? And she's like,
She's got a
like
dick.
I said, so she pulls out this
For
photo
dick?
album.
Oh.
Oh, no.
You're just a
We were
stop
talking about
on the
last
tour,
week.
buddy.
We were talking about
I'm
last
like,
week.
all right. and I open it and it's just dongs. It's
Last week we were talking about the legendary what's her name?
Plaster
Peggy?
Caster.
Yes. We were talking about it last
Was
week.
that her that did that?
That wasn't her.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't the
damn,
plaster.
I
I
would-
think she's dead. But she plaster castered like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, plaster in the
Yeah.
lungs.
So she wanted you to. She wanted.
So
to take a
she's
picture
like,
of your wiener?
so she's like, this
Fuck
is my book. So, and I'm looking in there, and there's like lots of famous dongs from like
Dogs.
from all this. I'm like, wow.
Did
I'm
they
like,
sign the dong?
She carried this around.
Yeah.
Were these dongs signed? Was it a signed dong?
It's like so it's like a resume, like a
Oh my
resume.
God.
Like,
Were the big
I'm
ones?
like, and then the promoter's like, well, this is, I can't remember her name. So I'm like, and she's pretty well known around here. But he goes, well, I'm like, are you taking pictures of all the guys on the bench? She's like, no, I just want yours.
why is Joe Altier's black? Don't worry about it.
Wow, there's just
So,
Joe.
so
right
then I'm
there.
like, where am I supposed to do this?
That's just Joe.
It's just Joe right there.
Yeah. She goes,
just Joe.
well, she goes, because can you go on the bus? I'm like, we don't have a bus. I got a van. There's dudes in it right now. And she goes, well, we got a dressing room, and I'm like, we're sharing dressing room with 3 other bands, and one of them are like all the girls in the band. I'm like, I can't do that. And she's like, well, is the bathroom back there? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how am I? But I go, how am I gonna like in this environment get myself like how do I get this cranked up?
Oh, it's easy.
No, give her the full softy.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm like,
just tug on it.
Let me
Just
go
tug on
try
it.
it. Let me go try it. And I go back there. I'm like, there's a bathroom back there. And she's like, do you want help?
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, yes. The story's getting great.
So we went back there. We're getting the thing, and she's like, she fluffs me, and then she takes a couple photos, and then she's like, well, I can't leave this. I can't just leave you like this. And
She finished you off.
she finished me off.
Oh my God, she's awesome.
And then she said, can you sign this part? Because that'll be the autograph underneath your picture. And I never saw her again. So somewhere in Dallas, Texas,
There's
a picture of my dong.
She got a mouthful.
I wondered.
I don't remember her name.
You don't need to know her name.
Who cares?
I don't even know your name.
Oh my God.
You should write
With
It sounds
baby,
like-
I don't even know.
It sounds like a new song. I know that.
Wow, Joe.
Oh, yeah,
that's awesome.
definitely a new headline.
I know there is.
Anything else you want to get to?
That's
You wanna
there's a
come
lot
across
of them. I
from
mean, we can
Syracuse?
stay here for hours and tell
So
that.
this is good. I don't know. I got a list of questions here. We only talked slightly about how you started in CrossFit and then a little bit on nutrition. We got a little racy there, and I appreciated it. I loved it. I'm looking forward to having you on the show again, number one.
Yeah.
But aside from the 85 pounds of specific fat that you lost, what are some other accomplishments you got going on
in the fitness.
in the fitness world?
Well,
Yeah, we're
during,
pivoting
that,
it.
during that time, I got
Because I want to go in a
Did I
different
say
direction.
something that pisses me off? He's got his. I got a bar muscle before he did, but he's got both of them now. He's got
I got a ring
muscle.
and a bar muscle.
What's it? How old are you?
I'm almost 50. I'll be
Yeah,
50
that's
in March.
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but I want to.
Isn't that part of the great part about CrossFit though? Like to get those compliments
Yeah.
at your age.
But I want
where
to
you don't think that
defend
you
this
could
though.
ever-
Like I want to defend this because Joe technically had a ring muscle
Joe?
up, but
Which show?
Ring muscle
This
up is
Joe.
easier.
This
Oh
Joe.
no, but him
The
though.
ring
Joe.
muscle up is easier.
I agree.
Way
And
easier.
the one opportunity to instruct it, Joe executed it, boom, flawlessly. But he couldn't fully lock out because we were on some bullshit rig at the YMCA,
Oh, dude.
and he would have cracked his noggin.
No, but I'm saying like it's. I kind of want to spin it the way of like, isn't that great though? I think that's part of the CrossFit though. Do you ever think at 30-year-olds you'd be able to do something like that?
Yeah, no. I mean, I never did anything like that when I was an athlete when I was younger. But
And that's
the
what
thing, what I really loved about my journey in CrossFit, and it's not always just about the CrossFit accomplishments, being able to do something like that or learning how to do a double under wall walks, all these challenging things that I think I wouldn't be able to do. Can I go up and do muscle ups all the time? No, but I can.
But you've done them, though.
I've done them, you know. But the other thing is that I never really liked running. Like I only ran in football because
Amen.
Is that CrossFit, Newman?
but then during the pandemic, I decided. Well, right before the pandemic, I decided one day, I'm like, I'm going to run a half marathon. My friend's like, well, run a half marathon, and this is beginning of July, and he's like, well, I'm like, when's the half marathon? He's like, August 13th. I'm like, I got 5 weeks. I'm like, I don't know. And I went to Ed and I'm like, Ed, do you think I could do this? And he's like, I don't think you'd be ready.
I need a 6-pack abs when I go across that finish line.
And he goes, and then the next day he sends me this PDF of like, here's your running schedule. You're going to run the half marathon. So he trained me, and I got prepped for a half marathon in 6 weeks. Up to that point, I had never even run a 5K. So I went from, I ran a 5K like that.
How many
week.
years of CrossFit to do that?
At that point, it was 3 years.
So
I had the engine.
Cardiovascularly, that was no problem for you, right? But like the muscular endurance piece of it, because that's
Exactly.
easily 2 hours.
Well, it was. I did 2 hours, and it was a flat course. It was super easy. and I did 2 hours.
Because I'll tell
and
you what
7
wasn't
minutes.
fucking easy, and that was the mountain goat.
Oh, God damn it. I was just going to say that. Okay,
Mountain goat is
I'm
not.
gonna-
That was harder than the half
You
marathon.
did the mountain goat?
Yeah, I've done the mountain.
Okay, so I'm going to cut him off. He can tell his side of the story. So we had about 10 clients doing the mountain goat. He's
They're all runners.
I'm going to do the mountain goat, but I'm not going to run for training. I'm going to just do squats every day.
Squatover in April.
We did squats over. I don't think we should have had Bonzo CrossFit on his shirt that day. He should
I
have.
finished.
He should have had CrossFit
right,
Syracuse.
I never stopped running. Number one, yes, I was gray. I looked like I was dying.
Yeah.
Part of me did die that day. But I did. I only ran 4 or 5 times. My
Ever.
biggest
The whole training
session. Right? I ran a mile. I was running at like an 8-minute pace.
We'll call it a scientific experiment.
It was a bad
Well,
one.
the thing in CrossFit, if you're doing CrossFit all the time, you have the engine.
Yep.
There's the engine there, and you also have the mentality to be able to push yourself through really tough,
But 2
uncomfortable
hours
situations.
is past a CrossFit.
Well, I went.
It is, but I mean,
I
you-
did it in 100 minutes. I did it in 100 minutes.
Solid.
And I tell you what, I did 9 miles solid. That last mile.
Dude.
That last mile.
Listen, he comes up. I'm like, "Where's Ben? Where's Ben?" Like, and then I consider Ben one of the fittest guys I know, and he looked gray, gray. All the blood, his blood and soul left his body.
But I think that's what CrossFit has taught me is like how to go to uncomfortable places. And now I'm always challenging myself to like, well, during the pandemic, I ran more. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do the mountain goat. I'm going to do 5Ks. How fast can I do a 5K? I did a 5K and I did it in 25.
That's great.
30.
That's awesome. That's really great.
It
That's
was
awesome.
and I ran with Ed.
That's not an old man shuffle.
Ed trained me. Dude,
I just did one in 34 minutes. It wasn't that bad.
Because
no,
that's a shuffle.
Dude, that's great.
I just did it.
That's
The
a
last one was in
solid
34 minutes.
Listen,
He's talking to you like you're an art person.
you realize how very few people in this world actually run a 5K?
Oh,
ever
you
in their
wiped your
life?
ass today.
I have 3 of them coming in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, guys. Whatever.
But I did one with Ed, and he pushed me to get
Yeah, but
that
this is
time.
this is the bullshit, right? One day he decides to run, and we get it. It's a
He's like,
12,
"I'm not doing the
13
work."
minute mile. No big deal. He's learning how to run.
Right.
And he's literally learning how to run as a person who weighs 230 pounds
yeah.
as opposed to a person that weighs 340
Yeah,
pounds.
and you don't have you never had experience of like how to run, pacing,
None.
But
arm
he-
movement, all the other stuff.
All right,
that comes
come on, you're
along with
encouraging
that.
them. Stop
So
it. Stop it.
after several months of run training, he decides, I want to get faster at it. And he does. He goes from 12 to 11 to 11 to 10. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he runs a fucking 8.5 minute mile and hasn't done it since. And I
can
want
do
to
it
know
again.
why.
I can
I
do it
want to know
again.
why.
Well,
Because his arms got too
Vacations
big.
why
His
I
arms got-
stopped myself.
His arms got too big.
No, let's be honest. Let me tell you something. I'm in gear right now. I've got to run. I got a big one on Saturday. By Saturday, I'll run.
And by that, he means
I'm
a guy.
gonna run
A
it
big
again.
guy,
in
a
9
big guy.
I'll run it in 9 minutes by Friday. Friday, I'll run that in 9 minutes.
That's fine. I know because I'm
I know I'm gonna
push you otherwise.
Well, he's been they've both been driving me for 2 days, like calling me a bitch every 5 minutes because I'm trying.
It's motivation.
I'll be honest with you, it is motivation. What do you call it, bros?
Bro science.
Bro science fucked me in the head today, and I got in my car and I drove back and I'm like, today wasn't fucking easy. Today was not easy at all. And
No, 250 feet of
That was
handstand
the
walking.
gayest workout ever. Sit
I'm
up
just
to
trying.
fucking-
It wasn't hard, no.
No, but I'm just trying. I didn't say I didn't try, but yes, I did fall off the map from August.
You came 8
August.
times.
That's
Because it was a weird month. I was on vacation. I was out of
You
town.
were learning how to
studying for
recycle
school.
out of state.
I was
I know.
You're learning how to get this
that.
vodka.
And the
a lot
other
of
thing is,
stuff
see,
going.
your body actually needs that break once in a while.
Well, but
Don't tell him. Yeah, tell him that. Well, I told him that if he for this challenge, if you eat donuts after 9 o'clock,
They don't count.
They don't count.
he wants me to get a wax. I'm not getting a wax. He's getting a wax. I'm telling you, I'm such a psycho, and everybody in this building knows I'm a psycho.
Yeah, it's a
That
roller
once
coaster.
I'm programmed, last night I did some fruit prep. Once I'm programmed, it'll be probably by the beginning of the week. You're not going to stop me. I'm going to fucking go harder every
See,
day.
you're taking the mentality that used to have like being able, hey, I'm going to party the hardest, or
Yeah.
I'm going to drink the most, or
Yeah.
those mentalities that you had, and you're just refocusing on.
Okay,
stuff
so
that's
that's
more
actually
positive
what I
in
want to
your
bring.
life.
Do you think you have an addictive personality?
Absolutely.
No, that's what I do. He does it for a fact. We all do. And I think that's what CrossFit translates to, because then that becomes your addiction.
Well, it does.
It is.
It's a great. it's a way better addiction than the other things that you
Yeah,
have.
because
but you also have to be careful.
Obviously, you partied a lot with coke and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I've had all my
we
stuff
all did
over there.
like that in the past. And isn't that like is a transfer over to that?
It does, but then you also have to be careful because you can also use fitness and your food and your tracking, and it could be
All consuming.
It could actually keep you avoiding yourself. You're going to be doing the same things. You're basically using the drugs and the alcohol to avoid shit that you got to deal with. Fitness is a great way to do that, but it's or get yourself in shape. But it also can be a way of doing the same fucking thing that the coke and the drinking and everything else.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful in this.
So the best cocaine you ever had, where was that?
Madison, Wisconsin.
You answered that so fast.
Shut
Boom.
up.
You answered it so
Swear
fast.
to fucking God.
He's like, take
And
me back.
I've had this conversation because you would
You're like face
you
melted?
figure like, oh, I'm in Texas. You're like closer.
Yeah.
No, I was in Madison, Wisconsin. We're on tour at Mushroom Head, and Chucky Love, our tour manager's like,
Chucky
listen.
Love.
So
That's the best name for a tour manager.
No, but he's awesome. I love Chucky Love.
So Chucky's like, we get done with the show, and we're playing a place called the Annex. He's like, man, there's a guy I can get some pretty good shit from. I'm like, dude, we're in Madison. It's been stepped on 30 times.
They had to go across the United States.
Did Brett Favre autograph
We're
it?
in Madison. There's no way. He's like, well, the guy says it's pretty good, but it's decent. I'm like, whatever, just go get it. So he gets it, and I'm like, he cuts up a little bit. I'm like, dude, no, this is going to be crap. He just laid down a monster. And I did it, and then I'm like, all right, that's not bad. And I walk upstairs to go in the bar, and then all of a sudden I'm like... I was like,
Seriously?
I was like this.
Shut up.
I'm fucking...
Oh, is that good?
I'm up,
Are you serious?
I was up against the wall. I was gacked so bad that I was like, I couldn't speak.
There's something
I
else.
couldn't
There's
talk.
something else in this.
No, it was.
But you're saying to yourself, there's something else in this. There's something else.
I'm like, oh my god. I mean, everything was numb. I'm like, I'm Chucky. That was really, Chucky's like, Chucky, that was really good. And he's like, dude. And Chucky's already going like,
We should buy a boat. We should buy a boat.
He's like,
We should go to New York.
I'm like, dude. And there's fans coming up trying to talk to me, and I'm like, what?
Amazing.
And Chucky's like, what do you need? What do you need? I'm like, just go get.
I needed a pack of Newports.
A pint of Jack Daniels. So he comes back with a pint of like almost all Jack Daniels.
And you just chugged it?
And I just chugged it because I'm like, I gotta equalize.
You gotta
equalize.
even out. You gotta even out.
And then like 5 minutes later, it finally like came in. I'm like, holy shit. And then we see the guy that we bought. I'm like, where'd you get? And he's like, Mexico, bro.
No, that'd be great.
I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, I almost had a heart attack.
No, it would have been better if he goes Toledo.
I gotta tell you this: the last time I saw Chucky Love about a year and a half ago, I think I was at one of
Oh, so
my heaviest.
you know Chucky Love?
I know Chucky Love, but I was at my heaviest. Chucky Love comes out of nowhere. I'm like, hey man, how you? I haven't seen you in a while. He's like, dude, how you been? He's like, wow, you're fat. And I go, what did you say? He's like, holy crap, dude, you're really
friend,
fat.
Yeah, remember,
one of my best
you remember,
friends,
like,
man.
do you remember the no homo? So it's like, bro says.
Yeah, it was pretty hard.
Well, yeah, Madison, Wisconsin, and
That's amazing, dude. That's amazing.
it's not an answer you thought it would happen, but he also said he's like, man, it's a big college town. I'm like, why does he got such good stuff? And he's like, this is a huge college town.
You know how much that's
University of
getting chopped.
Wisconsin and
You know how much that's getting chopped down for the college
Yeah,
kids.
oh yeah.
Like,
Oh
you
my
guys-
God.
They're like your band and all. I'm like, dude. And he's like, you want any more? I'm like, dude, I don't know. No,
No,
I'm good.
Dude, I
did
just think,
enough.
listen. We're at.
I did enough.
you said no, and then like an hour later, like, where's that guy?
and then, no, it was like 10 more minutes, and I was like, yeah, let's do some more.
Find
And
that
then
guy.
the Jack
Amazing.
Daniels kicked in, and then I started feeling drunk. I'm like,
We need more of that.
Amazing, dude.
Sing us a song.
Just
you
go.
piano man.
Do you have one more question?
I do. This one's not going to be nearly as serious. This one's going to... I need to know from an
we've been
insider...
serious now.
Let's get serious after cocaine.
I figured people would either cut out at this point, but I need to know from
Speaking
the
of cocaine.
somebody who's obviously a CFS strong member, right?
Yeah.
Like you've been there a long time.
Yeah.
How's it like knowing that one of the head coaches has opened a brand new affiliate a mile
Does
away?
it change the atmosphere?
well, it did. I mean, well, here's the thing, and I'll say the good side of it.
From your opinion.
From my opinion, Pat, who opened CrossFit Loop, that was the natural progression for him to do it. Pat was
Well, why do you say the natural progression? Because he was going to out living that place?
he's that good of a coach.
Is he really? Yeah. I've heard of this guy.
He's like a savant when it comes to like being able to coach. And like at some point you're going to grow to the point. And Pat started there when he's really young, and now he's gotten to a point, and it's like, well, he's reached the ceiling. He's never going to own the place. He's only going to be able to make so much. So it's like it's only a natural progression for him, of someone of his caliber, to want to own his own gym on a business level and to be able to have more control over what he wants to do with his programming and everything like that.
Because he does his own program.
Oh, absolutely, man. And Pat, you're not going to find one a better coach around. I mean, that dude will sit there and look at you, and
so
when it comes, he could describe like a clean and jerk to you with all the mechanics with your eyes closed, and you would understand it. That's how much of an understanding he has.
Might be interesting to you is we have what's his face coming in.
Stephen Cohen.
He's the Olympic coach.
Oh,
he's coming here
for the United States Olympic weightlifting team.
He's coming
2004.
To do a 2-hour session.
Right. I mean,
he'll break down your.
And I don't want to. I'm happy for Pat. But anytime someone leaves a gym, especially someone that's been a part of that, and because I don't really want to go into like the dirty side of things, because I have my opinions, but I don't. My thing is like. Someone to leave and go do something like that, it's never going to be pretty. You're never going to be like, yeah, I want you to go open up your own gym down the street.
So with that being said,
like, you don't want that, but at the same time, you're that dude, Dan, who owns CrossFit, said to me the day that happened, he's like, listen, he goes, I can't fault him for doing what he did. And he goes, honestly, that dude was the hardest worker I've ever had.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's gone above and beyond.
That's cool that's what his attitude was, because it should be that.
Well, it is. I mean, but there's
the guy outgrew his position.
Because I didn't have the same experience.
Because you had that thing.
I didn't have the same experience. Now, I don't know if you know my story, but
you were at.
He was at Core.
You were at Core with Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
It kind of happened with him.
And I know. I knew Sean because Sean was actually, before he went and started, he was actually coach for a little while at Salt City.
Yep, back in 2011, 2012.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because he was fresh out of college. He's 10 years younger than me.
I didn't dislike him. I just didn't get along with him.
So
that's okay. That's a common theme.
But unbelievably,
he's smart.
knowledgeable.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He went to school for kinesiology. He's not dumb. You're a dumb business person.
Yeah.
But I don't feel bad about that. I've got very.
What do you think about the buses?
But I was in a similar situation where I was really, we'll say, positional figurehead in a community, and it was my goal to have a similar dream as Pat's, and here we are living it now. But to the point was without. I'm just gonna ask, right? Was it in the cover of darkness? Did Dan know about this?
No, they didn't know about it. He dropped it.
Oh, he did a pipe bomb. He did a pipe bomb.
Because, because that was.
How do you do that? Like, hey, I'm gonna open my own gym. Because in the gym world, if you know you're gonna lose someone, you'll fire them right on the spot. Because you don't want them to start freaking.
But I would do
people out of your gym.
I would do the same thing.
Absolutely.
But he did do it in the shadow of darkness for a number of time. And listen,
now I know that he's got investors.
He's got investors.
But there was one person in particular, I don't know if you know this.
We can say it off record.
I'll say it out loud. His name is Robert Ledesma. Is he an investor?
I don't know if he's an investor.
Okay.
God, this is great.
But I know Rob.
You know Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Ledez.
Yeah, and him and I loved. He was a good.
He's
workout
a great
partner.
guy. I
Great
really
workout partner.
really like Bobby. Or his name is Robert.
Yeah, and Roberto.
But I'm just gonna say on the record that he actually approached me years ago to be a partner. And
so he might be. I know some of the other people, but I'm sure that because Pat couldn't have done that on his own.
Well, this is just a hard subject for me because I was excommunicated from Core because Sean caught wind of the idea that I wanted to do this.
Yeah,
I don't care.
But he did do it in the shadow, and that is what caused the there was a.
I received
division.
a phone call 8 hours later. You're fired. Yeah. I didn't even get the courtesy of the face-to-face that I gave Sean. So, and I have no problem saying this on air, which is why I'm just curious. Like, I need to know because I, number one, promote the fact that there's another gym. CrossFit went from 14.
Oh, you actually reached out to him.
I did. I went over to CrossFit Loop. I congratulated him, shook his hand, gave him a T-shirt. I said, "Dude, I'm proud of you. I don't even know you, but I actually have. I'm affiliated with a hunting camp up north, and his cousins are my closest friends. Yeah, and so just by association, we know each other, but inadvertently. So I commended him, and I think that another affiliate is a healthy thing.
No, it is
for the city of Syracuse.
And Dan would say this, and I'll quote him: is that he's like, listen. There's certain things about it I didn't really like how it went down, but he goes, we need like that to be able to all push us.
Shut up!
It's going too long.
All right.
It's going too long.
With
We'll have
that,
to do a part 2 sometime.
Joe,
I would love it.
let's in a couple of weeks get you back here.
Joe, you have so many stories. I
We're
gotta tell
over an
you.
hour. Everyone's gonna get the kids home. But with that, we always say, "See you next Tuesday," and then we do 2 claps at the end. So, see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
2 claps.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you, Joe.
Joe, you're awesome.
Thank you, Joe.
That was the best one we've ever done.
I had a lot of fun. This could have gone for till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I've had podcasts where I've been out and I get going.
So I gotta ask you. I know that I met you back in like 2006 in the soft tip dart league at Mugshots.
Mugshots.
Did you play in that league?
No.
Because there was a guy that used to punch the dartboard all the time when he missed, and for some reason I always thought it was Joe.
No.
I think that was Steve Bone.
I hope you had fun.
No, I did. I think that was Steve Bone. He was a great. Was he?
That's okay. So am I.
I'm pretty deep in the doghouse.
You're not.
Why?
She's not.
You're not special. We're all in trouble.
Oh, thank you. Anytime, man. I'm a fun guest. Because I got so many stories.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't mean any disrespect to any questions.
Oh no, absolutely.
I
mean, here's the thing. I'm happy for Pat. I just wish it went down better. Sure. But then again, like, how do you do that and have it
because
be better?
It legitimately, right? Like probably 50, 60 members left.
Maybe not that many.
No.
Like 30, 40. But we knew those people. We could guarantee. We're like, yep, those people are going to go. They're loyal to Pat. That was Pat's thing. But honestly, it's okay. I mean, it was. I think the hardest thing on Dan and Ellen was they just put everything they had into expanding the gym. You know, so it was like this huge expansion.
Well, they're committed to that space, right? They're not anticipating leaving.
No.
Other than buying that building.
Other than but with us having camp, we gained more than that. But honestly, the camp portion of our gym now is busier than the CrossFit portion.
Well, I will say this: CrossFit is a niche community.
It is.
It is, and if it's not done appropriately, it can be downright intimidating.
Oh, it is.
And I don't know, like here, I don't need to tell you how we do it, but you know, we break everything down into 3 to 5 progressions to get to one of them. Today was handstand walking.
Yeah.
So it started from the floor on our chest, and we got upside down.
Yeah, and that's what we do. That's my main coach there is Sarah Stetzel.
I know who she is.
Sarah